All right, here we go. Black People Jesus podcast. Starting it back up. Gotta set everything up back as usual. Getting the vibes, getting the flow. Get this other screen going. Maybe I hit a freestyle. Let's set this up. And we on it. And we own it. Every day, every day. Every way, every way. Every day. In every way. We on it. We never back down. You don't see no clowns here. We don't even have no fear. We on a whole new level. We're stomping on the devil. And it doesn't like it. But we don't care. We throw our hands in the air. And then we stare. Dropping them on them already with the heat. Like it was just a podcast. I'm trying to get my other thing going. I think I got my other screen going right now. Okay. We are up. Let me see. I'm blind. Start sharing that. I think I just had technical difficulty. Stay with me. But we're still going to freestyle as I start the podcast up. Freestyle is always ready. Hoping to build ciphers so we can just really go in on society at large. Because we do need to go in on this. Like for real. Your society's kind of messed up and they don't want to talk about it. But I'm about to talk about it because y'all just need to talk about it. If y'all don't, things just go on the same way they did. And if we don't, we just gonna be seeing the same thing for our kids. I bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. I won't stop talking about the deep damn things they all want to eat. Y'all don't know about nothing I'm about to say. I'm about to drop it on y'all today. Alright, I'll get back in my freestyle flow, don't worry. I'm just out here freestyling. We start the Black People Jesus podcast. Uncut, like BT. What? Uncut, like BT. What? Uncut, Black Hippie Jesus podcast. Uncut, no cuts, no directors, no freeze, no go, no pause, no slow, just flow. No, they're not. I don't know what's going on with this. Alright, I thought I was recording something. Let me just do another one. Alright, so this is I'm just gonna get started with the subject, and I'm gonna fix this part later. But we starting again the Black People Jesus podcast, the journey, awakening the journey. Talking about the awakening experience, and what that all means. And going through my personal awakening journey from 2020 to 2022 to this moment in the juncture in time. And that's what I'm getting into. That's what I want to talk about. As I roll this weed up, as we go in deep within our universe, deep within us. We can go really far. We can go far. Blow the shofar, go far. We are stars. We are kids. in bodies that are adults, but we just don't want to grow up, because if we do, we don't know what to do. We just living, we just free. We know how to just be, just be. Like every Jesus freestyling for y'all to start up the show. I wanted to do something, but I just had some technical difficulties. Yeah, let me get back in this real quick. Let me make sure my my stuff is up. Oh, we getting vibes. Hey, I do not own the rights to this music. Just once again, just want to make sure I put that out there. Actually, it says no copyright to play this song, play these jams. Here we go. Black Hippie Jesus podcast, starting it back up. About to do a hard cast. What? Where y'all at? Where the cats in the back? Throw the hands up. Take a chat. Maybe I got too many tabs up. Oh, yeah. Maybe my internet's too slow today. Already 7 minutes in. We just vibing, uncut. What, uncut. What you say, Vibes, tribes, vibes. What you say, yeah. So I'm having technical difficulties today on this computer, so I am recording on this phone. I might have to shoot it here if I can transition. Here we go. All right, so we started Black Hippie Jesus podcast. Let me light this up real quick. Let me get in the vibes. Go ahead and light this one up. And we're talking about the awakening of the journey, relationships, and my journeys traveling back to Mexico, or traveling to Mexico for the first time. Funny stories, interesting stories on this podcast as I blaze up. You see I'm already lit. Life is so good, man. I just gotta let people know that. Hope my technology doesn't keep messing up like this, but we don't care because I got another recording right there. And so if the computer mess up, we're gonna keep rolling. We ain't gonna never stop. We never folding. We just be freestyling for 10 minutes straight. We don't care. We knocking on heaven's gate. Don't ever say, we couldn't tell you because we did. No, I'm going to say this. God did. Y'all heard what Jay-Z, what he said. We out here, man. We out here. Okay. All right, so I think everything's good. All right, so I'm just gonna tell this. I'm just gonna tell the story. We're gonna pop it off. We're gonna tell the story. Awakening the Journey, Part 3. Me coming to Mexico. But let me go back. Let me go back real quick and talk about some things in 2020 that I thought would be interesting to talk about. Interesting to say. In 2020, one thing that I was noticing, and when I was like smoking, when I was high, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. I didn't say that last time. Is that I was seeing these number sequences, right? And I don't want people to. This is a very important part of the awakening journey that I want to talk about. Is these strange occurrences where you see these number sequences during time when you don't even expect it, right? So you're like, now it's getting kind of funny because people are looking for it and they kind of catch it. You know, oh yeah, it's 11:10. They look up, they wait around. Oh, 11:11. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like at the oddest moments, watching a movie. You see it on a clock in a movie, and you least expect it, stuff like that. You've seen it like 3 or 4 times, and you see these sequences, and you're noticing that life is a bit strange now. You know, you're noticing that things aren't the same, right? You're like, life doesn't seem real at this moment because you feel like things are shifting, right? So those who had that experience where they started seeing these numbers. That's the beginning of the past. So I remember just smoking a lot of weed, hanging out with some friends, and noticing so many subliminal messages, so many subliminal things inside movies and music, and I was sensing the different vibrations. And I was still a dualistic thinker at that time, so there were times when I thought certain things was the devil, man. I'll be watching movies when I'll be high, and I'll be like, man, the devil's in that movie, because my eye was open and I was seeing like the subliminal implants that they put inside a lot of these movies and music, and a lot of the entertainment industry, as you know, as we've already been waking up to this fact a long time ago, is that there are certain elements that people place certain things in there for certain reasons. That's why I talk about deconstruction, and you're going to keep hearing me talk about deconstruction, because that's what I'm here to do, is talk about how to deconstruct those things like your mind. But people have documented and have proved that there are these things that they put in these songs, and it's even to the point where they switch the vibrational frequency of the song to lower it, or to fit it to whatever frequency they want to get people to react to it for. That's the part of the magic of ancient Egypt, Samaria, and all that stuff, right? They use this type of things on each other to get the populace to, be under mind control. So it's really interesting that we are now starting to see ways we wake up that these things are in there. And me now, I'm like, wow, I catch it easier now. Now that I know their cult, it actually led to me studying their cult to figure out what in the world are people putting into these our entertainment, right? And me studying the cult opened my eyes that, hey, this thing we call the cult is actually not evil. When you open your mind, it's just hidden knowledge, stuff that actually the people above keep from us from knowing, so because they don't want us doing things that they're doing or know what they're doing. So saying that to say, I was seeing these number sequences in 2020, and it was very strange. And I kept seeing it. I've seen it so many times, and every single time I seen it, it was leading up to a certain moment, or it was a certain truth that I was uncovering. Because what I want to talk about as well as add on another dimension is that I'm always seeking something inside. And during this time, I was trying to figure out some things. Like I was still questioning my religion. I was still, questioning my whole existence. Like I was also existential stuff, man, So that being said, it's like I'm noticing changes in the vibration of where I am just by my mind opening, right? Things around me are changing. People are changing. I'm starting to uncover and see the shadow realm. And this is why I talk about the fourth dimension. So when you go into the fourth dimension of consciousness, you're entering a shadow realm where you're seeing, not only was I seeing stuff on people, I was seeing stuff with myself, right? So I was in this mode of going through my inner demons. And I remember in 2020 how as I was having these inner battles, I was looking at myself from a higher perspective, and I was able to see my flaws and all the things that I've done over the past and how I was acting. I was seeing my shadows, and they were making you afraid, because that's why I had bad trips when I was smoking a lot of weed during the pandemic, was because I had some dark things in me that I wasn't willing to deal with in the normal state of consciousness. So when I switched into an altered state of consciousness, I was able to see these things. So weed and and other medicines, and plant medicines, and spiritual technology, or I like to use, brings us closer to the divine ladder, up the divine ladder, which is the 12 dimensions of consciousness, Jacob's ladder. I'm gonna talk about all that another time. But the fourth dimension of consciousness, you start to enter, and you see the shadows of outside world and yourself. And a lot of times this scares people, and they don't want to continue. So the fourth dimension the fourth dimension of consciousness is a place of the astral realm. It's where we have to battle this fight, between courage and use our courage and willpower that we learn in the lower dimensions to get through the shadow dimensions to higher dimensions, so we can, grow our minds, and really become better people in the long run. So, not to get into 12 dimensions of consciousness, which I will be writing a book about the 12 dimensions of consciousness, and doing that in my ministry, Faith Deconstructed, which is also going to be doing action-based ministry to help people transform their lives. Stuff the church didn't do, I'm going to do for the people. But just saying to say, just a quick commercial break right there. Support Faith Deconstructed when you do see that come out pretty soon. So I am really excited to have gone through that. I wouldn't say excited, but it was really an interesting time to go through that fourth dimensional conscious shifting period during 2020 to 2021, which I was still in during 2021, which I was battling through all that. So I was, just to say, I wanted to point out some hallmarks that in 2020, not only was I going through that relationship, I was seeing these things with this relationship I was in. I was also seeing these things around me, and I was also studying history, and I was also starting to see the future. And this is when all these numbers started to make sense. They were all kind of corresponding with the future I was seeing, and with everything going around me with history, because I was still in school, mind you. I just graduated back in 2021, actually. So was still in school and was studying, and I was seeing the evils and things like that, that the United States government had done over time, especially in the late 1890s. So, for example, there was a lot of, so I ain't spoken on yet. There was a lot of it was a different America. A totally different America than we had. It was really nasty joint. People were working in very bad conditions. They had very, very, very poor working conditions during that time. Labor laws were not really there. Cities were ran by these like tycoons, these guys with wealth, being able to do what they want to do, buy out whole blocks. Like they were basically, didn't have much. Of course, not all the infrastructure we have today. It was really, really bad situation. Not to get too deep into that part, but I was just studying how America really has a long dark history. Not to get too long. It's a long dark history. When you start to go in it, you cannot look at the place the same. You just can't. This is why they don't want to teach history. Not that I'm saying for any political affiliations, but they don't want to teach the real history because they do. People want to have a different eye about this place. They gotta have a whole different perspective on the United States of America once you really start to go through history. Like once you really start to dig, you cannot be like, oh, land of the free, home of the brave. Like what? These are some liars, cowards, and they do a lot of stuff in secret. And during a certain times of history, they really didn't show us this in school because they didn't want us thinking about the country. They were trying to train patriotic people, right? And this is why you really got to understand. You have to understand this because they were really trying to create patriotism instead of creating a nation that worked for the people and worked for all. They were trying to get us into this mindset of being having undying love for your country, which isn't a bad thing if your country's good. That's the problem. That's why we're waking up and we're like, look, this place is not good. America is actually, it's not honest. Everyone can agree it's not honest. We can look at history. We can pull up some documents right now, which I'll get into. But saying honestly, I don't want to go too far on tangents. This is the podcast. I can go on tangent. I got the weed. We about to be the Black Joe Rogan out here. I'm pretty sure there's other Black Joe Rogans, but we about to go in though. We about to have more conversations, smoke more weed, and really get into other states of consciousness while we talk about lots of deep things. So I just hit that weed right there, and it already sent me a space from already. Because I smoked some earlier, but we are in it once again. So continuing on with the story, it was a really interesting year in 2020. All these corresponding numbers, the relationship I was in, that battle I was in with dating wrong people and being in situations, everything was like awakening to me to something new, and I was like the shell was breaking off me into old life. And even the old desires and the things that I wanted back then, as I got deeper into it, I learned that I didn't want it. So fast forward, look at the last episode. We talk about more about what happened in 2020 with that relationship, waking up to seeing that relationships today, our modern relationships, are just trash. And I'm not trying to dog women or just men. I just look at the whole thing like, look, it's pretty messed up because we got a lot of wrong programs in our head, which I'm going to show them from the Bible. Actually, that what we think we believe is what is the right thing is actually a program that was set up by some colonists, some ancient alien astronaut colonists came and set us up with some programs so that we don't populate the earth too much and take over the colony. So I'm not getting into that right now, but it's Anunnaki stuff. We're gonna get into that later. But I was just waking up. Just waking up every day. I'm just taking up every way I can. Seeing through the darkness. I gotta take your hand. God, the light. Don't strike me with lightning until you see me through the fighting. I just wanna be more enlightened. I'm just speaking. My mind is tightened. I want to expand it. I want to write in the wrongs, the songs. I want to throw it all I wanna go raw. I wanna be tall. I know I'm so strong. I know I go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. We're strong. We're freestyling, man. Take a little freestyle break as we do always on the Black People Jesus podcast. Freestyles all day. We'll be high in every way. Bouncing. High vibrations. All right, so we're going into the next part. Let me turn this down. So, all right, let me get into it. This is the intro, 25-minute intro. Now let me cut that up though and do some remixes with that. But 2021, I just left to Mexico, right? Just was out, right? And then as I went to Mexico, I'm gonna take it off that screen so I won't distract y'all. That's the music that's playing. As I went to Mexico, make sure this stuff is working. Hold on. I just really felt that relief as soon as I left America, because I did it. Like I said, I did an interview with NBC. I was just so ready to leave America. Like everything was a build-up. I was really, after being here in the country and examining everything, analyzing the structures. After being away and coming back, it had a whole new perspective. Reverse culture shock. Could not believe that I'm living in this matrix I call our particular model, which is the United States corporation system machine that we're in, right? So waking up to that fact that we're inside a program where, I mean, it gets really deep. If you don't believe me, watch a gentleman named Jordan Maxwell. He really breaks down what exactly we are in. We are in this thing where there's basically, countries are corporations, and these corporations basically own us. They trade us on the stock market. You don't believe me? Go ahead and check out Jordan Maxwell. Breaks down these things. Actually shows you the proof. That's where the sovereignty movement is going. I'm not with none of that disclaimer. I just read and listen to a lot of people. But this is where that free sovereignty thing comes from, because some people realize, hey, we are indeed registered entities. We're registered straw man. Our capital letter names is our birth certificate and our I think our social security cards. And that's a fictitious entity. So you're not really real. Like that name is like, it gets deep, man. It's like you really got to break down this matrix. Like you really have to understand what we are in, and you really have to make conscious decisions about what we're doing. Because if you still are not awake to what's going on, you can continue to be manipulated by these things that are constantly being beamed at us in every possible direction. So it's just all about being aware. So if you want to engage in things like that, I'm saying, look, just let people know. If people want to do experiments on people, just let people know. People that out there that do experiments on other people without them knowing, just let people know, and people will sign up for. You never know, right? Some people might sign up for being experimented on. Just make them sign the paper, just like they made people do during the pandemic. People can actually do that consciously, or they say, "Hey, man, this is experimental, thing. You can take this. Just let them just know we are still developing it. It's they could have said, we trust that they might be totally safe, but you never know. They could have did this thing a lot better. We are starting to see that things didn't work out the way we thought it would. As simple as that. Nobody's judging anything but by the fruit that it bears. Jesus said, things by its fruit. And that's what this is, a measurement that I love to use of if thing has results. Look at the result. If a thing has results, judge the results. How well of an impact did it have on the people? Was it more positive or negative? And you make a judgment based on balancing the scales and the weight of the thing, the pros and cons, whatever you want to call it. We have an eye to judge. We just have to look at things unbiasedly. I say this once again. Once we get to that level of consciousness, we can judge between matters. But man, I just had a high moment. But yeah, we really have to get to the levels of states, higher states of consciousness, to be able to go beyond where we are today. So let me, man, I must have hit this right here. Put me in space real quick. I'm trying to talk to you about that. But I'm on Awakening the Journey, and seeing these things from a whole new perspective, from a whole new higher dimension of consciousness. And the journey has been really, really deep. And I just want to continue telling the story. I kind of get, maybe that's my mind reminding me, hey, you got to tell the story. All right, so let me not get too far off. I'm coming to, because there's a big point about relationships in this, and I got 30 minutes to tell it, that I want to tell this story that leads up to my change in mindset about relationships. I don't want to forget. I wish people could remind me. I do get high and my mind can drift, but this story leads to my transformation in mindset of relationships. So I just came out of a situation in 2020 to 2021. I left this girl I was dating to leave America, because that's what I was saying about earlier. I did an interview at NBC. I was talking a lot about leaving America because America was corrupt, and I just knew it. And this place was basically on its way falling. Babylon is basically falling. It's what we call Babylon, what we call the system that's been ruling us for so long. Or just talking about a straw man, all that stuff I was trying to connect, is our system that we got to wake up out of the matrix. So I left this. I realized all this shit, studying history in school. I'm still in school when I left. Quit my job. Had a pretty good job. Left with a little bag. Was like, I'm going to Mexico. Went out there. Was really enjoying myself. I really met some cool people. Even in the very beginning, got plugged up with a group. Cool people I still know. Was really vibing. Met a lot of really good friends that I'm still cool with today. Man, anytime I see them, it's love. But there was some bullshit though that I dealt with, because look, and this is why I get into relationship. We can talk about relationships, because we have to understand that a lot of the way we react to each other, as far as the sexes, as far as male and female, and how we view each other and look at what each other wants and desires or whatever, what have you. We look at each other through the wrong lens, and we do it with complete ignorance. So I came out here just kind of not wanting to be with anybody. I just came out, like I said, with the relationship I was talking about with before, girl I was talking about before. It just was all just not. It was just not for me. It was not something that I should have been a part of, looking back, because it just wasn't for me, right? No disrespect to anybody. And I broke out of that, and then I come down here just wanting to be free. Actually, kind of went back in that mode like I was in Taiwan. I'm all at that point. Look, when I go to the beach. It's people gotta understand, when you're out there on the beach, when you're out there in this type of weather, you're not understanding what the sun is actually doing to your body. When you're in that sun, it's actually priming your hormones for sexual activity. That's why when you're on the beach, and I learned this actually from a book about astrology and the sun, and how the sun basically is pumping hormones into our body all day, vitamins, everything we need. The sun is basically pumping this into our bodies all day long. I read this in this book about when I was studying the Maya, and how they actually practice this fertility system there with the sun, and it of course had them popping off children, and they weren't a monogamous culture, and so they were definitely popping off lots of kids and basically except for the monarch, for the higher ups, I mean they usually were because they had to be, but like the priests in Leviticus, they usually have a little more tighter system than the populace, but for the most part they were basically use the sun pumping those hormones to actually have sex, and it breaks it down in the book what I'll talk about later. It's very interesting, the sun energy and how it does this thing to our body. So when you're in the sun and you're being pumped with hormones, it's going to make you want to have sex, make you want to be more sexual than you are if you were in the cold for some reason. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but because like those hormones. But it's you are more prime. Your body is being actual. Especially if you're seeing all these bodies everywhere when you're on the beach. Especially if you're in places where it's hot, Caribbean. You're seeing ass everywhere. You're prime. Your body is primed for sexual activity, and that's all I really cared about. And but a lot of people around me, which is very uptight at the time about it, I'm like, wow, people are very like a little standoffish against, a lot of people are kind of, I guess, traumatized about hooking up with people. I guess that's because like I said, I haven't spent so much time away from the dating scene. I don't know what the heck going on with people, right? So I'm like, yo, I'm out here, I'm vibing, I'm meeting people, and it's all good, like we do in the movie, like She's Gotta Have It. I'm living out here, like, but people like be really uptight during this time, because I think people's consciousness are shifting, and they realize that a lot of the ways we've been doing things, I guess the people that people have been dealing with have been so toxic that they kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater type of deal, and they don't engage. They just like to make these kind of placements to kind of guard them from, and they hear from a lot of what I call bad spiritual teachings. We will talk about which is called fourth dimensional astral mess that people learn, because when you're in the astral realm, when you're in the fourth dimension, you understand, you're seeing the shadows, you're seeing a lot of shadows in people. You're seeing these things, and you know that people can get really dark. So in the fourth dimension, usually people set up these protection belief systems that they use to kind of keep themselves from that attacks from those realms. Now, everyone can make their systems, but you must have consciousness. That's the key. So I'm seeing that people are like, I'm just in a vibe myself, but I'm seeing that kind of like demonizing the freedom or liberty of someone's sexuality, and it was kind of like I was seeing some people like form like groups and try to like paint certain people as fuck boys or playboys, not really knowing what they were going through, and kind of where their mode is. It's just because a guy just want to be more sexual doesn't necessarily mean he's just all about that. It's just that you never know what's going on in someone's life, and there's a lot of judgment out there. Especially if you're a guy, and you say, hey, you come up with somebody, I want to be intimate with you, I want to chill with you, I want to, they start thinking, all you want is sex, and it's like, no, it's more than that. It's actually a whole thing. Actually, it's like a whole vibe that I want to create with you. Not just sex, it's a whole vibe. And it could go somewhere if the vibe works out. But because there's so much pressure and and people are so heady with these things, when they come into things, they're always triggered or defensive or something. So I was going through these things when I was like talking and dealing with women, and I seen these judgments, and I was really starting to open my eyes more, because I was dating American women when I was here, Western women as well. When I was here, when I got to Playa del Carmen in 2021 in January, dating a lot of girls that that were just kind of and like I said, I didn't know their pathway either, and it was just, but people were painting pictures of people, and I got caught in the crossfire of that. And as I tell the story, it happened when I finally met somebody. Like, oh, this is a girl I actually want to vibe with. Cause before I tell that part, let me tell this story. So I'm like I said, I'm in my sexual freedom. I'm tired of like trying to be with someone. I just it doesn't make you a bad person when you're in that mode. You're like, you know what? I just want to smash. It's like just absolutely. I'm not in that spooky stuff where spirits are transferring on people, and I can show you where that's a very false fallacy, because there's nothing that proves that in history. That's all your mind, because when you understand the laws, the hermetic principles, that you understand that all is mind. No spirit or other consciousness can get into you other than through your mind. It's not through sex. You're never going to get a spirit passed on through sex. If you do, your mind is weak, and you've allowed something into your mind to make you act or make your life, whatever you imagine, something happens to you. This is what we call the fourth dimensional junk you pick up. You're scared or spooked out by spirits and things like that. When in actuality, it's all about the mind. And you'll see. I'm gonna show people that through the Marvel movies, actually. Especially during the scene where the Scarlet Witch was trying to get into the Doctor Strange in their school, and it's in the last movie. I'm not sure who remembers that scene, but in the last movie, it shows that she had to get through one of the weak guy's mind, and when she seen one of that guy's fear, she got in. So when I break down the dimension of consciousness, you understand that a lot of the stuff we believe is off. Because a lot of it was taught just from the fourth dimension. A lot of people do not go above the fourth dimension, and saying, and as I'm tying all this in, I was in this fourth dimensional conscious frame too, dealing with other people in the fourth dimensional conscious frame, and everybody's spooked out, afraid of each other. We don't understand what's going on because we have not ascended to the fifth dimension, which breaks all that stuff. Which as I go on my story here, I'm gonna talk about. So I meet one girl, right? And this is a really strange story, because this person is older than me, and I think, okay, maybe older woman, maybe she understands the deal. Like, look, just like we watch the shows, man. We know our generation is really just getting down, like, on the most part, like, and people want to condemn that, but hey, this is the time we're living in. But it's just people with bad energy doing certain things, and whenever people with bad energy do something, people want to throw the baby out the bathwater. That's not what you do. I'm gonna talk about later on that hey, whatever people agree to do behind closed doors, that is what they do, and it should not be demonized or looked down upon by anybody that's not participating in that. That's just something I want to those nuggets I want to throw in there as a preacher. Like, look, stop judging other people's lifestyles. Stop judging people just because they don't fit your particular view of how relationships or whatever should be done. There is a poly movement going on. I'm not saying I'm a part of that, but people are really going back to the roots, which is true, which on the most part, majority of us were poly. But we have a segment of people in today's society who want to judge things based on old, outdated ideas, which actually the idea of monogamy kind of came in with this stupid monotheism, mono, and all that started to shift to be a controlled thing. They really wanted to use mono. It's easier to control than poly, anything. So it's all governmental control. Why all this was created, diamonds, weddings, all this stuff was all just, I can't get into that today because it triggers people. But just know that what we live in today is a matrix, and I was breaking out all this, and relationships were helping me understand that, hey, people are programmed a certain way. So check this out. So this girl, I'm thinking that, 40 or something years old, I could hook up, things would be cool. One night, I go out, and I'm seeing some friends that go out, hang out with this bar or whatever, or it's a hookah place, and chicks dancing on me and everything. We having a good time. We vibing, and we make an agreement, we make a deal in our conversation. While she's dancing, all that stuff. We make a deal, and we go back, and long story short, handle business. And as we're going about, the next day or a few days or so, I find that this person is going around telling people about what happened. I'm like, this is like really, it was like the most weirdest thing I've ever experienced, because it's like, we are grown adults, why are we talking about our sex life and open that we, with other people in the room? It's really just like a off, not agreed upon discussion that, you want to have with people in the room. So it was really some strange thing. That was really a strange first encounter where I'm like, okay. And then when I confronted that person about it, they got upset. So I'm like, yo, man, like, look, like, nobody does this, man. Like, nobody does this. Nobody just goes around and blurts out who they're having sex with to other people. That it's like a non-need to know. Like, it's like no one needs to know that. It's just really, so people just were doing strange things. That was the first strange thing. So I meet another girl, so I dropped that one. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna slide with her no more. So I meet somebody else down here, and man, I'm hiding them up, but I'm still talking about these stories. I meet this other girl down, and we the first time we kicked it was good. It was alright. No, I'll take it back. She did this thing where force something that kind of made me uncomfortable, but I kind of let it slide. I don't like people who try to force things. Like, some people are a little aggressive, and it's like, all right, people gotta learn to chill, man. Like, that's what I love. I think people should definitely be more high, man, because people do not know how to chill, man. That's what weed really teaches us. It teaches us how to chill. So I'm saying to say, this person was really trying to like force like a scheduled time, like trying to set some kind of like system around what we're doing, like, and that's what I mean, like, everything's about energy. You gotta let things flow. Like, some people get really uptight. They try to make the relationship secure. Like, I guess they have insecurities, and they want to make the relationship so secure that what happens as a result is they kind of push people away, because you start putting these rules and restrictions all over the place when you're entering a relationships, and this could be male or female. You're like, no, I like it like this, that, this, and you start, people like, man, what you like? People like, whoa, yo, chill, dog. Like, look, like, we had just met. Like, look, we don't. Why is all these rules, or like, what is? And you, next thing you know, like, man, I cannot deal with people and these things. And you're like, look, people gotta learn to live and let live, or give and take a little. There's not a lot of compromise, especially as I started to notice with the male-female interaction, especially on more part of the female, less compromise in anything with what a male may want to do. And I learned this in my marriage, like, straight up eye-opening. It didn't matter what I said. It was like, no. So it was like, you start learning that, some people kind of grow up like spoiled brats, and they always got to have their way. And they always got to make things, they're like their program. And you got to be a part of the program. And so, because they were programmed by something, and they're just living out a program. So we live on programs on top of programs. That's the type of things that we're going to talk about. You'll hear me say programs a lot, which are just mind matrices that are built into us from birth. There was mind matrix that we were born in. We were watching cartoons. We were reading storybooks. We were being programmed by Disney. Happily ever after, fairy tales, Shakespeare bullshit every day, especially young ladies. And today, as young adults, people are entitled. Especially, they started telling us that we're all special, and no, that's lies. You're only special by what you do. What do you do for people? That's what makes people special, actually. But we lost that art. We started telling kids, oh, everybody's special. Everyone deserves a reward. And you start telling people, they start giving, what's that? Man, I ain't smoke some more, man. Anybody give me into it? They started giving the little participation awards. You ain't did nothing in the game. You got a trophy, man. So we were trained, we were raised up, and did this for a reason. So we grew up to be these entitled, like, assholes that want everything our way. we want everything like Burger King. Have it your way, right? Is that Burger King, McDonald's? I forget. I ain't had that shit in a long time either. Just going on rants on society, man. Society is funny to me now. It's funny because y'all do not realize how messed up everything is. And it comes from the faulty programs that are put in our head. So, saying to say, this person was trying to like secure payment. Secure, oh, we're going to be doing it on this day. And every week, I'm like, man, I don't know about that, dog. Like, look, I just met you. We just, like, look, we're going to give it some time. It's like, people start trying to, like, secure the thing, you know? Like, look, because, you know, I don't know, this insecurity thing. Like, people just got to know, look, it's all about vibration. It's all about energy, right? And when I was really understanding, when I got down, this is later on in my journey, understanding relationships, understanding physics and how things are all about energy. Energy is gonna stick to each other. So regardless, you don't need a construct on it. People, if someone wants to be with you, they're gonna want to be with you. They're gonna be with you regardless, and it could turn into a monogamous relationship. I'm gonna get in that relationship later on. That level of consciousness you get on, where those type of relationships easily attract because your vibration. Because the higher you go up in consciousness and vibration, you're only going to really be with probably one or two people. That's why you look at all the pharaohs. They maybe had one or two wives. They had a lot of concubines, but they ain't stopped all that. But they really could only have, and I mean like priests. I should say that priests usually, on the most part, maybe had one or two wives. Why? Because you could not get in the way of what the priest was doing. He was talking on behalf of spirits or talking on behalf of God and man, right? So he had to live a certain life where he couldn't have certain energy around him. So, saying all that to say, I don't even want to get too far. You're on programs, man. So people really are in their own programs, emanating their programs everywhere. Like my program, you're gonna be a part of my program, constantly. Instead of reasoning, instead of trying to build something that works for everybody, people come into it. Oh, this is what we're supposed to do. That's the entitlement implant. That everybody's supposed to do something. Like, who says we're supposed to do what? Now, if you want to talk about books and scriptures, we can look at all the books and scriptures. We can really break down all of it and see what God is saying. So people are always like spouting out what they believe, what they think everybody should be like. They're running around like the Scarlet Witch on the same movie. The Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, the Scarlet Witch. Was actually trying to connect all the universes to make her fantasy of, which was not real. If you looked at the whole story, it shows how the consciousness can create fictional realities based on what it believes. Some people's beliefs are unwarranted, and that's what Dr. Strange was trying to warn her. Like, look, this is not like some beliefs are illegitimate because in reality, in the totality of the multiverse, the interdimensional links, it's not there. So we can't always create these constructs and then try to force it on the world. It's going to be rejected, and that's kind of what's happening in a lot of people's consciousness right now, is that they're not connecting the reality with what they believe. And this is why we have to do what's called Faith Deconstructed, so we can build better beliefs. People's beliefs are not based in reality. They're based in fictional things in their mind. They're implanted in them from childhood. When we get deep into this, we really start seeing that a lot of who we are, who we think we are, that we like about ourselves, is a program from someone else's mind. We're living in a reality. We're animating someone else's thoughts. And when you think about that deep, you're like, oh shit, I'm in a matrix. I'm emanating someone else's thoughts, someone else's vibrations to transfer to me. This is how spirits transfer to you. If you really talking about, it's not through having sex. It's through the mental transfer of energy from hearing somebody or something over and over again, so much so that it forms in you, and then their spirit or whatever that or their consciousness transfers into that entity when they're hearing the words over again, and they're planting those seeds over and over again. They become what they say or what they hear, what they say. So that's programming. Humans have been what's called hackable animals. I'm gonna get into that later with this guy. I forget his name right now. But humans have been hackable animals, and they've known that. The Anunnaki have known that. You know, that they have been using these mind control techniques on us since the very beginning. And now we're starting to come to understanding how our own mind works, so that we don't fall victim and prey to the mind control tactics. That we realize what everything is. That's why I'm talking about the higher level dimensions of consciousness. So we understand what everything is. Then we can consciously go into certain things because we know what we're dealing with. Instead of believing in it, we know what it is. So if I'm ever going to be in a love situation, I know that love is fake, but I'm still going to enjoy it, just like I'm just like I'm playing a video game, because I know that it was created at a certain point in history, and I understand that this does not exist in so many different universes out there. This thing we call romance, love, monogamy, all these different things we've learned. I broke out of that, in which I'm gonna talk about later. So I want to get ahead of myself. But so this person is put these constructs and rules all over the situation. I'm like, all right, man, I can't. This is just, just like there's no freedom here. I'm like, look, I've been in the marriage for 6 years where I felt like a slave. You think I'm gonna just like submit to people's little rules all the time? Like, no, I'm not. Look, I'm cool with seeing you once and we're good. So I like easygoing people. Like, people come in with really heady and they want to make sure everything is like, I guess they have OCD. I don't know. Some people have OCD with relationships. They're like, everything gotta be perfect. Gotta be dressed perfect. Gotta look perfect. We out of control, dog. I'm just gonna say that we're out of control. I've taken myself off the market completely at this time, because shit's so crazy. Oh shit, man. Let me get some weed, man. Shit is so wild, dog. So this was like more of a rant. Like, I wouldn't say I'm ranting. I'm not ranting, really. I'm just talking about this stuff, man. I had a story. I'm having a story experience. My life is going on real time, man. Actually, the book that I'm writing, the Book of Climate, is like a real time fictional story that mixes real elements with it. I'm creating a story, and the story's gonna be pretty cool. But saying all that said, let's go back to the story, because I already been on this camera for an hour. This one for 48 minutes telling this story. But I'm gonna probably go 20 more minutes to get to a certain point, which then I'm gonna go into the next one, which I'm gonna break down a revelation I had after I dated this girl. All right, so I dropped that girl, but then right after that, I meet somebody who I thought I was in love with, right? So this is where I was still kind of in that mode, because the whole time during this process, I'm also like breaking down. I don't want to forget this part, because this is not just about relationships. This part is also about me deconstructing my religion, because I was actually having some issues coming face to face with something that some guy I ran away from a long time. So let me explain. When I was a Christian, man, like, there would be certain people that I would just stay away from because they challenge my faith so much that I'm like, I don't like listening to this guy, because he challenges the truth that I think I have, or the truth that I have. He challenges my truth. And I always avoided this guy. His name is Bart Ehrman, and I was into the apologetic scene. I was always defending that Christianity, the Gospels. I was always defending these things because I believed in it so much. It was such a driving force in my life that the remnants of was still there in me. And I was like, okay, even though I haven't really been living in this faith religion thing for quite a long time now, these things are still in there, right? These implants. And I'm like, okay, you know, I had to be honest with myself, like, and to ask, okay, I believe these things. I still believe in Jesus. I still believe in God. I still believe in the Bible. But there's things I know that are wrong. And I need to face these things that are wrong, because a part of what I really knew deep down inside some people need to do. They need to face things. They need to say, okay, and that's how you get to the fourth dimension. I'm talking about later, the fourth dimension of consciousness. Like, okay, I need to fight these shadows, these things that are making me afraid of looking at things I don't want to look at. To actually sitting down and doing what Jesus said, counting the costs, right? Before you start doing things, you want to say, okay, what am I up against? What is it? If I want to believe in something, all right, what is the reality of me achieving, accomplishing, or having this particular thing? And you set your consciousness that way, and you're able to grow in that, or make better decisions at that. So I'm really learning, as I was learning at that time about my religion and things that it was a hard time actually. The more I think about it, and so I just took a pause just to think. The more I think about, it was hard actually facing certain things. And I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Like, it's when you believe in something and then you're like, okay, you have to come to like a moment of truth, and you're like, this belief that I got, it's just, I keep wanting it to be so, but maybe I'm not looking at it the right way. And I remember just taking that time and look, I was like, I'm gonna study this guy's work as if I don't have any beliefs, as if I'm new to planet Earth, and I want to learn what this guy is saying. And when I started to do that, I really started to like put everything kind of like side by side and really like, look, I'm looking at what he's talking about. I'm like, okay, I cannot deny this. I'm looking at how what they call the synoptic gospels. I'm putting them all together. I'm like, okay, you see where you cannot have this thing, this idea that these events were all recorded correctly, because you see conflicting parts of the events, and you see these different or contradictions, and you see these things that just don't make sense, and you just like, yeah, all right, so here we go. We see that after I got done with Bart Ehrman, I came to the conclusion the Bible is not inerrant, meaning it's not without error. You got to be really insane to really, I mean, I'm sorry to say that, to sit there and look at this book honestly and say that it is inerrant, to say that it's perfect. It's the Word of God, it's the consciousness of God, or it's not it contains the consciousness of God, but it's not the consciousness of God completely. And I came with that truth, and I said, you know what, the Bible is not inerrant, and I made that declaration, and I said, God, forgive me for this, but I got eyes. I'm reading the history. I don't know much about it, and this is how I'm getting through my fourth dimensional maze. It's like, okay, look, my heart is still connected to God. It was like, look, I don't know what this book anymore, but I started to kind of let go. And at this moment, as I started to let the book go, I started to learn and really like vibe with God in a different way. Like, it was really like open, free. Like, look, I'm not out here wanting to do wrong. Like, I know, like, you know inside what kind of vibration. Everyone knows their own vibration. A lot of people aren't honest with themselves. And I was always honest with myself. Like, look, I'm in more of a pure state, man. I'm not out here trying to do wrong to anybody. So I'm letting go of that religion, and I'm walking into like a new way, but I'm still having my belief and faith in God. It never dropped. It's like, look, this book has been kind of terrorizing me for a long time, basically psychologically. So I'm gonna put this thing away for good, which I did already in 2019. Actually, in 2019, I was living like an atheist. That's another story I'll tell again, or another story I'll tell another time. But I was picking it back up because 2020 was going through dark times, picking that faith back up. But 2021, shadows and like, look, stuff ain't sounding right. So 2021, I'm like, okay, here we go. This book is not inerrant. And that was the first thing. And that's what was like woke me up to just being. I still had Jesus in my life. Still believed in Jesus. I still used and prayed in the name of Jesus. Still prayed in tongues during this time. I was still kind of very much a Christian, but just kind of liberal Christian, I guess I should say it during that time. I liberated myself from the Bible as being this infallible, inspired Word of God, and looked at it more of as a book that has the Word of God, which I still kind of look at it. It has God in it. And when we understand that, we look at it differently. Oh, it does have a lot of God in it, but it also has some other beings in there, which I'll talk about later, which you can recognize with just consciousness. So I'm at this place. I studied Bart Ehrman. I realized I was starting to shift away, but then I meet a girl from Africa or from Canada, who's African, who's a very strong Christian. And I used to be a very strong Christian as well, so we kind of connected on that, and connected on a lot of different things. Really had a lot of commonalities and different things. Really was kicking off. It was really that good to where the energy was like, we weren't having sex. We didn't have sex or nothing like that in the beginning. No kissing really. I was just vibing with her at the time. Just enjoyed talking to the person, and that's what it was. Like for the first time in a long time, it was like, yo, I met somebody where I'm just talking to them for hours on end. Like sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, and that's what I love to do. To actually have dialogue, even when we're disagreeing, just continue having dialogue to kind of come to understandings. And this girl was just vibing with me for a long time, and we just kind of kept going to the point where it turned into like basically organically into a relationship. And this is where the story gets kind of crazy, because it looked like I was actually getting what I had been kind of hoping for deep down inside, because I was that person who was still looking for love. I was still hoping like, oh God, yeah, I want love. You believe in love and all these different things, and I was that person. I was literally that guy. I was that dude, and I thought it was happening. Like I legit thought it was happening. Let me get this real quick. And I legit thought it was happening, man. I was excited. I met some chick. We was vibing, really good. Really felt like it was going smooth. Then, here comes the bullshit. Some chick I ain't even mess with. I'm just gonna tell stories, man. I ain't saying no names. Niggas know who they are. I ain't worried about it. Some chick I ain't even mess with, man, was hating, dog. Talk about, man, like we was walking to Walmart. I never get this shit, man. We was walking to Walmart. Me and a girl, I'm dating a Canadian chick, and this chick see her because she actually knew her before I knew the girl. I'm like this other chick that I didn't even mess with, that I seen a few times here and there. When she seen me with her, she made some statement. And the funny thing, they had already known each other. And it's talking about something I get around like I'm Tupac or something. Man, I'm like, man, people, and look, like when I say I'm a stoic, I just looked at her. Like I just sat. Actually, funny thing, I never forget. I just looked at the girl. I just did not understand what this person was doing. I'm like, and I don't like, and even back then, I was like, look, I don't like to give people energy that is just off, man. I'm like, I'll look at you and like, okay, something's wrong with you. I've always been the chillest person in the world. I kid you not. I've always been like the chillest dude in the world. I just see people wild, and now I'm like, oh man, yo, this nigga out here, it's wild, man. So I've always been that type of cat, and this chick just said that, and I just remember the, old girl I'm dating was like, whoa, like this dude, he out here like that, but it's like I had to tell her later, like, man, I did not know that girl like that. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. In which we killed it, we squashed it at that. It was like, okay. But I think that person still had in the back of their mind. So fast forward, we still date, we still vibe, and things are actually going really good. And then we're at the event another time, and this time, this person, the girl, is there again, sabotaging shit. Like, okay, this time I'm like, all right, man, this is getting a little out of hand. I'm still trying to handle it diplomatically because I'm a diplomatic person. She goes and tell her girl, I remember the story of Amy's Candy. Just getting all in our business. I forgot exactly what she was saying. But I just remember her talking to the side with her. Again, telling her stuff about me. It's like, this is really like high school kid stuff. We out here growing adults in another country, man. I can't believe it, man. I'm like, yo, I could not believe this stuff. And talking about this and that and the other. So at this point, and another girl, that second girl I talked about with all the stuff going on that had to leave, that I kind of like slid away from. This person was really trying to put a lot of pressure in solidifying our sexual experiences. I was like, nah, man, And she ran out and said something smart, man. When she seen me and old girl together at that same pool event. So at this point, I'm like, yo, man, y'all girls is out here wilding, man. And it's just like, it got to the point where it just kind of made me sad because I'm like, look, I don't know why these people are doing this. It's like, I really remember crying. I was talking to some friends, like, look, I don't know why these people are doing this. I met somebody, and out of the blue, these people are just attacking this situation. And I'm like, this shows you how nasty the modern women are today. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you stories because these are my experience. I'm not talking about in general, as far as like every single soul on the planet. But I'm saying in today's culture, it's some wicked, sick stuff in people's head, man. And I gotta talk about it because we gotta open the brain up and figure out why we're doing all this dumb shit. So I'm like, yo, I do not understand why these people are doing this. This is basically jealousy. Women are really jealous of each other. Men can be too, but on the most part, you see this predominantly. Huge amount of jealousy amongst women, and that's what was going on, basically. It was like a whole assault on my relationship, and that had nothing to do with these people. This whole situation. So that started to affect this girl's mind against me. She's looking at me like I'm some kind of playboy mansion, Hugh Hefner guy. I'm like, yo, man, you really know my life, like most of my life has been celibacy. You know what I'm saying? Like how I'm not out here like that. Even though I was coming out free, but in the most part, I want to spend a little bit of my life out here wild. If you really look at my totality, my 20s was pure clean. Most of my 20s. That's why I ain't got no damn kids, man. Look, I have no kids because I kept my dick in my pants from the age of 18 to 26. Or 25. It's 25, 26, yeah. Straight celibacy, dog. Straight discipline. Or faith. And which I don't regret because I showed that I have self-control. They helped me get the essential parts of a young man. So I try to teach and help young men gain self-control over your thing, man. You gotta decide with your eye who you're gonna give your thing to. Who could potentially take your seed, man. Your seed is important. Young men, your seed is important. Don't go flipping it, flopping it, and giving it away to anybody. Because that's your spiritual lineage. Now, when we talk about things like that, this is how spirituality transfers. The man can transfer let's say he's bad seed. Let's just say he got bad seed. Let's say he got some genetic histories. Because when we do things in the body, the history, what's done in that body transfers genetically, DNA-wise. Spirit memory, all that transfers to our children. That's why the sins of the father are visited upon the children of the third, fourth generation. These things continue on. We repeat what the DNA and stuff is in our parents. Sometimes comes out in us. It's just genetic. saying to say, men and women, is kind of like a, if I'm gonna step in the pastoral mode, it's like, okay, you want to watch out for things. It's that situation. Having babies, protected sex is okay. I'm gonna say it's responsible. Sex is fine. Wisdom is the principal thing. You must have wisdom and get get understanding. But just giving away seed, that's why I never did sperm banks, dog. You can't give your seed out there like that. You're giving away your lineage to unknown people, dog. The genetic experiments. They could be creating another you to them. You seen Gemini, man? Come on, dog. Y'all want me to get in this shit? I can get really deep, dog. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I can get really deep out here, but I'm already an hour and 15 minutes in, but I might just cut this into like an hour. We'll see. Man, so saying to say, young men, like, hold yourself, control yourself. Find the right woman to put that seed in, man. The right woman or women, whatever way you want to go. Because men, you got options though. People don't think you do. There's options, so you can make sure you put your seed in the right place. Because, like Kanye West said, 18, and it goes beyond 18. You want to add on the spirituality aspect to it? Yo, your seed. Make sure it's. That's why the Bible, all the lineage stuff, and like when they would like have say like someone would do something with the Moabites. Oh snap! God try to tell people don't go this way. Don't have relationship with these. We know how these people are in their DNA, not just discriminate against them. So, but some people have some genetic karma, some shit on them that they are carrying and is passing on to generations. You gotta be wise about that. You gotta know, look, I'm not gonna have this person in my life. So saying all this, I don't want to get a rant about that. Saying all this to say, this person was really starting to paint me as a Hugh Hefner player type person. And in reality, look, I was wanting to settle down. I've been wanting to settle down with somebody since I was 18 years old, actually. Funny thing. But I could never find anybody. And it was really just like, just going along with keeping my faith as a centerpiece kind of helped me get through those young adolescent years. So here I am, 35, whatever years old, thinking I found the one, and shit like some toxic shit based on some perceptions about me that were kind of false. Like, look, just because I had sex with some 2 girls here and it didn't work out between me and these people doesn't mean I'm running through people. Whatever people were saying, it was a lot of crazy shit, man. So these two girls, and then on top of that, that other girl, she heard about that situation because what she said that spread around. Man, it was a mess based on some perceptions and based on some misunderstandings. And here I am. So here I am in the middle of some garbage, and I'm really feeling some pain because it's like, yo, I don't know these people, dog. It's like I don't like what am I gonna start smacking somebody? Like it's almost to the point where I'm like I'm in my peace. I almost like entering a peace zen mode. I was trying to not let it get to me. And what it did was it helped me realize something. That's what it did. That's what things do to me. It helped me realize. Instead of me trying to fight it, I realized. I can become enlightened about why it's happening. So, basically, long story short, that drove a real wedge in the relationship. On top of that, here's another dimension I want to get into. I don't want to. I'm just gonna keep on going. There's gonna be 2 parts. Because I don't want to not do this. I want to do this story justice. So let me do the intermission. So this is where it leads to. So this girl I was with, actually, we were starting to go back to church. So I want to fill in while all that drama was going on. We were going to church. I was trying to get back into the faith mode, and we were kind of working through it at a certain point. But it was still a struggle because that stuff was still in the back of that person's head. Things got toxic. But let me just take a quick intermission, and then we will get back to the next one. But just to end on this note, that some bullshit was going on because people be jealous. Women be jealous of each other, and they don't want another woman to have somebody. I don't know. Shit was crazy. That's all I gotta say. So now I'm like, it ignited. All this stuff was awakening me through the process. So not only I was dealing with my religion, I was seeing how religion was affecting the girl I was dating. Because when we actually, and this is where I was getting to. Let me just say this before I go. Before we continue on, we'd had sex a couple times. Every single time we had sex, the girl would torment herself for days. And I had gotten over that part, like of the religion, because I realized it was mind control, which I'm going to talk about next in this next segment, where I'll talk about my revelation. I was deconstructing the Bible, and I was deconstructing my faith, dating this girl, and a situation was going on. All this shit was happening. I was praying to God, actually. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with all this? And he helped, it helped me. It was he at the time, but it now, God helped me understand the roots of this marriage thing that people want so bad. And he just helped me break it down and understand the matrix of it, which I'm gonna get into in the next segment. But I wanted to just get this episode crazy, right? Crazy stories. I got a lot of stories to tell. More to come. Stay tuned. Just want to end it right there, and we'll come back. But just stay tuned. The story's going to continue. The awakening, the journey, the relationships, the deconstruction, the breakdowns. Why it's all leading up to what I'm doing today. The revolutionary culture, counterculture thinking. Like, look, let's think about what we're doing. Let's understand why we are doing what we're doing. Why do you do what you do every day? Have you ever thought about that? Have you sat back and say, well, you know what? Why do I feel the way I feel? Check out some pathways. Why I want to do and feel and say and think a certain way. What you find out may shock you, and it may start what I call an awakening, a spiritual journey, a transformation, a new you, a butterfly being broken out from the caterpillar cocoon. So, Kwame Slide's Black Hippie Jesus, intermission, or you'll see part 4 pretty soon. Y'all be blessed. 1.